you, everybody. My name is Arlene Sisumbo Anderson, and I am your guest speaker for today. I want you to know that you will be listening to two stories, one from a wonderful friend of mine who came here for a better life. She is a very productive member of society. She lives in the shadow of our community because of the current political climate. So we will listen to her story first, and then I will continue on and I will share my story with you. Thank you.
Today, I'm excited to share with you part of my story. Being the person I am, it's a crime. Being an undocumented person in this country has caused a lot of pain. I wasn't born undocumented. I was born beautiful and loved. I had a happy childhood, but was shadowed by poverty. I have been an undocumented person for 17 years, but I'm not my status. My life is uncertain. My status is a secret that I fear. It's hard to keep my chin up when my head is down. I belong here in America, even though I'm living in fear and in the shadows. I was brought here when I was 16 years old. I didn't have a choice. My parents thought it was the only chance we had for a bright future. But I didn't qualify for DACA because my parents brought me 2 months later for the time limit they requested. I came, and let me tell you, starting over in another country is tough. There was a time when I cried a lot. I miss my family. I miss my life. But to see my parents struggling, working so hard for me and my sister made me realize that we are all trying. When I arrived, I went to high school and it was like a dream or a movie that I was living. That school was huge. It was beautiful. For a moment, I was happy to be here. One of my teachers spoke Spanish, and he had this great idea of putting me in English classes. Oh man, all my classmates spoke English, so I could learn faster, of course. That was tough. Little by little, I was trying to adapt to this new life of mine. I have always dreamed of being a doctor or a police officer or a paramedic. So they offered me CNA classes. I always carry with me a dictionary, and sometimes other kids make fun of me, but it's okay. I really wanted to reach my goals, and that only was going to happen if I know English. When I was in Mexico, I was in a nurse school, and I had enough credits to graduate from high school, but they told us, by law, I have to stay in school. I had the knowledge and the credits to be CNA certified if they only gave me the chance. I took a few classes. I translated every note, every paper that teacher gave me. And I remember I already know most of the stuff she was teaching, but it was in another language. I was really excited until one day I remember my teacher was waiting for me at the door of the classroom, and she said, "No más." I didn't know why I was in trouble. If day by day I tried my best, and she said, "No more. Go to the principal's office. You are now welcome at this class." I asked, "Why?" She didn't say. So I ran fast with tears in my eyes, and I ran until I couldn't breathe anymore. So I tried to calm myself down, thinking the worst. What am I going to say to my parents? To those parents that work before sunrise to sunset in a field. I went back inside to school and talked to the principal. I asked, "Why?" He said, "I don't know, but we have more classes." Inside of me, I feel like I failed my parents. They put me in Spanish classes instead. I wanted more, and I saw those kids with uniform. I asked, what class was that? They told me ROTC, but that's not for somebody like you. That made me mad, and I went to the teacher, and he said, I would love to teach you if you want. I told him my English was bad, but I could try. I went to the office and changed to ROTC. Well, that was hard. The kids that were in that class, they said that they didn't know any Spanish, so they couldn't help me. That was a lie, because they look exactly like me and they speak Spanish at lunch. So once more, I was alone. One day, they made fun of me. I didn't know what was so funny until they said, go back to Mexico. And I looked at the teacher, and he made me go in front of the class and told them to never again speak to me that way. He gave me a hug and told me he believed in me. I went to the restroom to cry and promised myself to never give up. We had a test and most of them fell, but I got 100%. And they cheered me up and gave me a chance. And since then, I have kept trying and I haven't stopped. I went a lot of times to the university, but I haven't had luck yet. Maybe one day. But meanwhile, I'm living my dream. I help people, and it's not for money, and it's not for personal gain. I help people just to lend a helping hand. And it rewards me down in my heart, and that's something beautiful you can buy with wealth. I'm a volunteer. I volunteer in disasters in a humanitarian organization, and I still dream. Maybe one day my luck changed, and maybe one day I can help my husband to provide for our little family and have a better life. I'm always scared, and it's not easy to live like that. I love this country. I love your flag, and I hope one day I can become a citizen. Please, God, give me the opportunity to vote. Please, God, give me that life. Give me a voice, and I promise to keep serving people. Dreams and dedication are powerful combination. Keep dreaming and appreciate what you have.
Again, that was my friend who lives in the shadows of our community. And all she wants is an opportunity. I'm going to continue with my story. My name is Arlene Sisumbo Anderson. I am a proud Latina. I come from a lineage that we can go back to the Purepecha tribe, from the beautiful country of Michoacán, Mexico. Our mom and dad died a few years ago, and I say ours because I have here 4 of my 8 sisters. Our beloved parents were not illegal aliens. They were not murderers. They were not racist. They were not criminals. Rather, as believers, they were sinners who looked to Jesus. They were like all others all over the world who wanted a better life for themselves and for their 9 daughters. With God who loves all people and guides believers, they planned their journey to the United States of America. My beloved mother was pregnant, and she was planning on having her 3rd child here, but went into premature birth, affecting their journey. They made a decision that impacted the entire family, especially the life of one, the life of my 3rd sister, Olga. To give you a quick history of my parents, my mother and father, at a young age, my father was illiterate. He never had the opportunity to get an education. My mother only went to the 2nd grade. They were farmers. They lived in a tiny little pueblo called Cuetzeo, or Jerico, in Michoacan, Mexico. So they worked all through sunup, sundown, and my father at age 14, with a few of his brothers, decided that this just was not enough for them. So they made the trek through the Rio Grande, through the desert, to come to the United States of America. At age 14, my father would find any work that he possibly could. And he finally was able to find something at a restaurant when he was looking through the trash bins for food. Because he and my uncles had not eaten for days. The owner took pity on him and he became a busboy. That is where he learned some English because of a kind waitress who would help him. At age 16, my uncles and he were employed with the railroad. The railroad was good to him. It was hard work. It was laborious. He would work on the railroad yards, sun up to sundown, in the rain, in the snow, in the heat, so that he could provide for our family, the 9 girls, and my mother. When my parents were married, my father, through working at the railroad, he was able to get enough money so that he could get the paperwork needed to bring my 2 sisters, who were Mexican citizens, and my mother, who was pregnant with my 3rd sister, Olga, at the time. But again, as the journey goes, my mother ended up having premature labor, and my sister was born at 32 weeks. Being a clinician and working in the NICU, 32 weeks is pretty young, and this was back in 1955, so they weren't even sure if my sister would make it. But she did make it, and they were able to find a lady who would go back and forth between the United States and Mexico, and she helped my parents and brought her over as hers, while my father and my 2 sisters came with them with the paperwork. My sisters and I, we went through the Ogden City School District. We all graduated from high school. We all went to higher education at Weber State University. This is when my sister, after she graduated and had been taking a couple classes at Weber State, she was told about a grant that she could apply for. Well, part of that grant required a social and a birth certificate. So she went home and she said to my parents, "Can I please have my birth certificate because I need to apply for this grant?" My father and mother looked at each other, knowing that this day could possibly come. So they sat with her and told her what had happened. You can imagine the emotions that my sister was going through. She was brokenhearted, she was frustrated, angered, humiliated, didn't know what to do. As a result of turning in that grant without that information, they ended up finding out that she was not a citizen of the United States. She received a letter that she would be deported. This is the struggle that many families face, and it's even worse today. I believe I was 5 or 6 years old, and I don't remember all the commotion that was going on, but I knew that I may not ever see my parents again. And they told my 2 oldest sisters to please take charge of the rest of us girls. So we waited and waited. My father, who was illiterate, he may have not been able to read or write, but he was a very smart man. He saved money because he knew the corruption of the government. He knew that all it took was money to make the changes that needed to happen. So through the consulate, and with the help of, at the time, U.S. Senator Frank Moss, between letters and phone calls, and working through the bureaucracy of the system, and money, my father was finally able to help my sister. And again, remember, my parents had to leave us and be there for a couple months while we didn't know if they would ever come back. So they finally were able to get all of that taken care of. And again, I truly feel that we are one of the lucky ones, because there are many families that don't even have the money, let alone how to deal with the system. My sister was able to get her green card issued, and at the time it was a 3-year waiting period. And as soon as she was able to get that, she then continued on to get her U.S. citizenship. What I want you to know, back again to what I said, our parents were not educated, but they knew the power of education. They knew that with knowledge is power. And my father said, nobody can take that knowledge away from you once you have it. My sisters and I, we are all productive members of society. We give back to the community. All my sisters graduated from high school. All my sisters have degrees. Some have associates, some have bachelors, and there's 2 of us that have our MBAs. So again, please know, we are not illegal aliens. We are not criminals. We are not murderers. We are not rapists. All we want is an opportunity to be given the chance to be productive members of society. My sister Olga is now a teacher in Texas. She specializes in English as a second language in Port Arthur Independent School District. She continues to see the impact of our immigration laws. She continues, as we all see, how hard it is on families that are separated because of these laws, because of what we are facing today. I leave you with one thing from the Bible, Leviticus 19, 33-34. When a foreigner resides among you in your land, you shall not do him wrong. You shall treat the foreigner you as a native among you, and you shall love him as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. I thank you for your time, and I hope I've given you a glimpse to the many trials and tribulations that immigrants face every day. And I can't even imagine being a mother today, having my child separated from me. So if there's anything that you can do, please get involved with your local organizations, because there's so many things you can do to help. I'm currently working with an organization so that we can get community members a path towards citizenship. I thank you for your time.